War Eagle and Good Morning War Report family, your man Ike Jones, another morning drop. It is Monday, January 9th, and we are talking about the defensive line. A couple of new additions to that room. Let's see kind of how we stacking up down there in the front, man. Y'all know how we do it here, right here on the morning drop. Your boys, the War Report. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
That's right, the morning drop right here. Your man Ike Jones joined with Mike G here in the building. Monday morning, we're here talking about the defensive front, man. We added 2 new transfer guys. We got a couple of freshmen coming in. That room is starting to look a lot better, more experience, more depth. Have you had a chance to look into either of the 2 new transfers? Mosiah Nasil Kite, the Maryland transfer, and Lawrence Johnson, the defensive tackle who came over from why is my brain escaping me here? Where was Lawrence Johnson from?
Lawrence Johnson came over from
Purdue.
Yeah.
So we got the guy from Purdue, the guy from Maryland. Adding to a pretty good front. Have you had a chance to look into either of these guys yet, man?
Yeah, Mosiah is a big boy. You're talking
Definitely.
about an almost 300-pounder. I'm sure he's going to be a 300-pounder by the fall. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what his playing weight is at Auburn. Now, with a new staff comes what, Ike? A new strength and conditioning program.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
Mosiah is going to have to get his weight up. We're excited about that. But he's a big guy, 6'2", 298. And he hails from Maryland, so he's bringing an ACC flavor to the SEC. They see something in this kid. We're gonna have to see what he can do.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Then we got Lawrence Johnson. He's another big guy down in there from Purdue. I was excited to take a look at him and see what his prospects were. I haven't looked at much film yet on either of these guys, but trust me, there will be film watching happening. Speaking of film watching, if you are in here today and you want to watch film with us, you have to be a member. Not only do you have to be a member to watch film, you got to be a member to come in here and chat with us this morning during the morning drop. We do restrict the morning drops to family only. So if your family, holla at your boys, you know what I'm saying? You could super chat us some stuff if you want to. We will be going to the comment section here in just a minute to get you all's thoughts on our defensive line. We'll talk about some of the guys we have coming back, some of the attrition we'll have from that room. But today, I'm going to be talking about defense with our guy, Ron Roberts. Well, not with him. He ain't coming on the show, but I'll be talking about what the defense will look like under Ron Roberts. So you guys make sure you lock in with that. But let's talk about some of the guys besides the freshmen, and we'll talk about the freshmen that are coming in just a minute. We've talked a little bit about that on previous episodes, but let's talk about some of the guys we have coming back to that defensive line room. So Marcus Harris, who has been a consistent contributor, and Jason Jones are the guys who've gotten the most snaps of those 2. Who do you feel like is going to be kind of the locker room leader? Because every room has a leader. Who do you feel like is going to be kind of a locker room leader amongst that defensive line group?
My understanding is Jason Jones is more of a quiet lead guy, right? He's going to lead by example on the field. He's going to show you what to do. Maybe Marcus Harris is more of a vocal leader in the locker room. But listen, both these guys are going to be leaders in their own way, right? I expect more on-field production out of Jason Jones. Here's a guy who's mature. He should be somebody who can communicate down on the D-line. Just do your job, right? And plug the gaps and let those guys on the outside get off and get after the quarterback, right? I expect to see him get after the quarterback from time to time, right? But they're going to have to be stout in the run game for Auburn to be good next year.
For sure.
You're not going to be able to run the ball, or you shouldn't be able to run the ball on the 2023 version of the Auburn Tigers with these guys in the middle. So I'm looking forward to seeing what those guys, and then they've got an extra year, Ike, playing together, right? So the chemistry between those 2 guys, coupled with, again, these talented tackles that we're bringing in to back them up should be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we are going to have more of that three-man front coming this year. So we're going to have that true nose tackle, which I think Jason Jones fits the profile for. I do expect to see some leadership out of him in that room. He is, a redshirt junior. So Marcus Harris is the more senior player, but I think Jason's ready to step up and be the vocal leader in that room. Kobe Wooden and guys, and we'll talk about the guys who've left. But let's talk about guys who we have coming back. And really, the only guy that we have coming back that's gotten any significant snap, well, won't even say significant, but like that second tier that everybody is super excited about is a guy by the name of Jeffrey Imba. We saw some
man, we
shenanigans.
had some drama.
Yeah, some shenanigans this offseason in regard to Jeffrey Imba.
Insta.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about Jeffrey Imba and his prospects to be a solid contributor this year? Because listen, I didn't understand any of the he might transfer stuff because he has a direct path to playing time right now with the attrition that we have on that line. And I think that this is going to be a good season for him. But what are your thoughts on Jeffrey Imba?
Well, he was immediately vocal on Twitter, if not somewhat vague, about the Hugh Freeze hire. Right. So assuming that, his hesitation was about the hire itself and not about, potential to play, he's found a way to get over that. And he's here. Now, this is a guy who garnered the nickname Thanos. And you can't be Thanos unless you're an absolute monster at times on the field. This is his time, right? And he's got to be able to, we're going to rotate. I expect us to rotate a lot of guys on D-line and stay fresh and keep coming at defenses. So, I would like to see Imba. I mean, he came in heralded, man, with just all the fanfare in the world. Come on, man. He's got it. He's got to pop off this year. And we'll watch him in the spring and see how they use him and what kind of defensive scheme this new defensive coordinator is bringing in. Again, much was made of our defensive scheme last year. And, I actually thought down the stretch, Schmedding did a fairly good job with the defense. So I'll be interested to see how different, our spring defense looks. I'm sure we're only going to get base looks, right? Like, we're only going to get base looks. So they're not going to show us anything significant. But, when I say how good they look, I mean, how sharp do people know in terms of what their assignment is, where to fill the gap, are they holding their man, just coming out of it. This is the time you get your weight up, right? So, they've got to get in the weight room, man. And this is, if you're getting bigger, if you're getting smaller, if you're getting faster, you have to do it now.
Yeah.
Right. You get 2 periods. You get now until spring practice, and then you get from the end of spring ball to fall camp to do whatever you're going to do to your body.
Right.
That's it. Because once, the season hits, fall camps hits, whatever you're going to be, that's what you're going to be. Right. So I'll be interested to see, too, how Imba transforms.
Yeah.
Right. To see if he stays where he's at, or, he decides to play at a different weight, or, how is he going to use his game? We didn't get to see a lot of it last year. So we'll hopefully see a lot this spring.
Yeah. So the other guy that we had that came in, Quintrell Jamison Davis, right? He is a transfer in, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see how that young man takes the step up into SEC play. But the guy who I'm super excited about, I don't want to skip out. Excuse me, Quintrell, I don't want to skip over you like this, but the guy who I'm super excited about, and let me mention the other guys that are in the room. So you got Zacchaeus Walker, who had entered the transfer portal, but came back out of the portal, right? Still in that room. Tobichi Okili, who we haven't seen very much of. He's a redshirt sophomore right now, hasn't played a lot of snaps. But the guy who I am particularly excited of, speaking of, because you said get your weight up, and this is the guy who came to my mind, Aniche Sledge. I want to see what that young man can do up there. I feel like he is going to be monstrous for us at a D tackle position. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing Aniche Sledge. You have any thoughts on the young guy, redshirt freshman Aniche Sledge coming in? Didn't play very many snaps, but looks to have gotten his weight up for sure.
Yeah, nothing wrong with sitting. Nothing wrong with sitting and waiting and learning. So this guy will be a year wiser, a year stronger, a year faster, at the SEC level. And when it's his time to go, again, we're going to be evaluating a lot. I've said it before. This is going to be one of the most anticipated, probably one of the most attended spring practices that we've seen at Auburn in quite some time, right? I expect them to pack the house for A-Day. And eyes are going to be on guys like Aniche Sledge right now. There's a feeling about A-Day, right? If you're going to win A-Day on defense, guys like Aniche are going to have a big day, right? And if offense wins A-Day, I don't know how I feel about the prospects of the coming season. I somewhat expect defense to win. I just expect offense to make some plays, look sloppy at times, but make some good throws at times. If your offense dominates your defense in A-Day, you might be in for a long season.
Yeah.
You might be in for a real long season. So, on defense, again, guys like Aniche, we're going to be keeping an eye on to see, again, how much did this guy transform in the offseason?
Yeah.
Right. How did he spend?
From how he came in as a true freshman to how he looks right now, he's already done a lot of transformation. So, yeah, I don't, man, year 2 in that strength and conditioning program. I don't know what that strength and conditioning program. Look, man, I need to go.
We need to get
him on here, man.
We need to get him on to talk about what's going on. Now, the players are always telling us, like, you guys know, have you been watching the War Report? We talk to the players, and they tell us a lot about, what the goals are. And I'll tell you one thing that was said by a particular player to me directly was that he felt his weight goals were set way too low. And he went back to the coach and said, "This is insulting. I'm going to blow all these out the water in a couple of weeks." And did it. Right? So, the Get Your Weight Up program that we thought might be happening under Brian Harsin may not have been happening because they were setting goals too low for guys. And, under Hugh Freeze, I'll just be interested to see, how does Hugh Freeze need them built? Gus needed his lineman built small and quick. Right? How is Hugh Freeze going to need his lineman built for this version of his system with this offensive coordinator? How is he going to need, the Aniche Sledges of the world built, based on how they're going to play defense? It's going to be really interesting to see to me.
Yeah, listen, Coach Hugh Freeze said it, and I've restated it multiple times, that he understands coming into the SEC, you've got to be able to win in the trenches. You have to, right? And so he prioritized, and you can see the priority that they've set is, we're going to bring in some big bodies that are going to be able to get in here and deal with the trench warfare that's going to be happening. We've got more offensive linemen. We've got more defensive linemen. We need to get stout and have more depth in those two.
Well, to your point of the portal transfers, tight end, edge, offensive tackle, D-line, linebacker. That's somebody who understands that the trenches are important. Right. I mean, he brought in 2 offensive linemen, 2 defensive linemen, an edge rusher, right? And a tight end, which, again, stay in protection on the offensive line. So, yeah, to your point, I think he understands the assignment. Get stout in the trenches quick, and give your dynamic playmaker, who we assume right now it's going to be Robbie Ashford, some time to sit back there and scour the field and make reads and go through his progressions this year, rather than constantly trying to save plays with his legs over and over again.
Yeah, and there's definitely some work that we needed to do. The run blocking, of course, looked a lot better as the season progressed, but we still had some work to do in pass protection. So hopefully we've gotten some of that stuff figured out. Listen, you guys are listening to the Morning Drop, or you're watching the Morning Drop, whether you're watching this right now, you're rewatching it later, or maybe you listen to it on podcast right here with your man Ike Jones and Mike G. If you don't know, this is sponsored by RogueShop.com. You guys make sure you head over to RogueShop.com for all of your herbal supplement needs. That's everything from pain and anxiety, sleep, whatever you need, they got it over there at the Rogue Shop, America's #1 online dispensary. Use code RAPPORT to get 10% off of your purchase, and make sure you get your spelling up. ROGUE shop.com is where you need to go. If you're in here trying to comment but you can't, it's because you're not a member of the War Report. And listen, man, we want the members to be able to get the best and most premium experience. I know some of y'all might want to come in here, jump into the chat, and share your thoughts. Unfortunately, you can't do it unless you got the green names. It's no disrespect to people who don't have the money right now, but we do want to give some perks to the people who've decided that they want to be members of the War Report, and we appreciate you all. So we drop in here and we chat with you guys every morning. Make sure you are out here sharing the video, liking it, subscribing to things. We are going to jump into the chat, though, and see what our members are talking about, because we love hearing from you guys as many times as we can during the week. We're going to get it kicked off with P-Pass, who says the Maryland transfer can play. Look at the Ohio State game. I will definitely go try to
take a look at
find
that.
the film from Maryland versus Ohio State at your recommendation right there. Thank you very much. Chris Sanders says we got depth. You are sure right about that right now. It looks like
we got bodies.
You know, from a nose tackle perspective, we're at least 2 deep with Jason Jones and probably Lawrence. The tackles, we got Imba, Marcus Harris, Nasil Kites, Zacchaeus Walker, Okole, Sledge. We got the freshmen coming in and Reed and Steven Johnson. We got a lot of defensive linemen now that we can go out there and rotate bodies with.
I'll hold off on saying we got depth. We got bodies for sure. Right.
Yeah, the quality of that depth is yet to be seen.
Yeah, so we'll see. Depth is about guys who can actually go out there and do the job.
For sure.
So, again, guys like Dylan Brooks, do they take the next level? He got in, made some plays at times at the end of the last season when they gave him spot duty. I hope we have depth.
That's one thing we haven't talked about is like, where do guys like that fit in that were in that edge room right now that we're changing our defensive philosophy a little bit? Like, is he going to be a jack? Is he going to be a backer now in that room? It's going to be interesting to see how some people transition from edge to whatever Ron Roberts is going to be asking to do in this new defensive alignment. P-Pass jumps back in. The linebacker transfer looks a little like Zacoby as far as instincts. Review the first 4 minutes of the Ole Miss LSU game. Given all the recommendations of what games I need to take a look at, I will see if I can find film on both of those games. Thank you so much for those.
Mario Tolan.
We're gonna definitely talk about him because we gotta talk about that linebacker room. Tolan did some work in the message boards for LSU. There's a lot of they were mad. Let's just say LSU folks were like, nah, we were expecting big things from him. But so thank you very much.
You wonder, though, again, for Brian Kelly to lose a guy like that, right? What was going on there? Because, again, the expectation was he was going to play.
Right.
And a lot. Right. So I just kind of wonder, there seemed to be some internal things there at LSU, kind of segueing a little bit after they had a great season. All things considered, he made the SEC championship game in his first season. He just ran into a monster in Georgia. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see if anything else comes out of that camp in terms of the new culture that Kelly has brought in. And, if we hear any more about why this kid ultimately ended up at Auburn.
Yeah, definitely will be interesting to take a look at. Lawrence Robinson says, I need to buy that new mug. You're not lying to yourself, Lawrence. You need to go ahead and cop that new Morning Drop mug. If you guys haven't seen the Morning Drop mug, it's awesome. I previewed it last night yesterday, I should say, on the weekend tailgate. So go look at that right around the time of the giveaway. We gave one of those away yesterday.
Yeah. I think mine comes today.
Right now in the shop. Yeah, man.
I'm drinking tea every morning from it.
So yeah, when you see Mike G sipping from his mug in the morning and you're jealous of how dope it looks, don't be jealous. Go and copy one right now from warreport.com shop and you can get your own. Austin Holland jumps in, says, War Eagle fellas, do we see multiple guys with 6 to 7 sacks next year?
Multiple guys. Now 2 is multiple. What are we talking, Austin? Are we talking 3? Are we talking 4? Are we talking a historic defense? I think it's possible to see with 2 guys with 6 to 7 sacks next season, certainly. Ideally, those guys are probably going to be off the edge. So keep an eye on the edge rushers, and we'll see what they're going to do this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Hancher, appreciate you jumping in. The new mug is cool looking. Got my 4th and Kiffin shirt last weekend. Listen, guys,
I ordered some of our stuff, Ike, and I went back and forth between whether I want that 4th and Kiffin shirt. I decided I wanted to put that phase of my life behind me, the Kiffin coaching search drama. But very cool that you got that shirt. It's a very well designed shirt.
Appreciate it very much. You guys can go check out the new mug and 4th and Kiffin shirt again at thewarreport.com. We have the shop open there for you. Austin Holland jumps in. Do we have an A day that actually feels like a football game this spring?
They might set a record. Now, there was a comment that I got on Twitter just now that asked, wasn't 2013 the largest A day showing that we've had? So I'd have to go back and look at that in chat. if you guys know the answer, chime in about when the largest A-Day was. I just think with Hugh Freeze, the excitement that Hugh Freeze is bringing in recruiting and in the portal, there's a lot for guys to look at. It's not just about how's the quarterback going to do, right? It's about what's the system going to look like? You know, what are these receivers going to look like? Did we improve anywhere? Did anybody beat anybody else out? When they were released that first spring depth chart, there is going to be hot debates because I promise you there are going to be some guys who jumped the charts and jumped other guys and guys who fell behind.
Yep.
Right. You know, one of the guys I'm looking for to jump the charts is Jay Fair. I'm looking for Jay Fair to jump up that wide receiver depth chart, baby. I think he showed way too much at the end of last season to sit on the bench too long. And if he is not first string, I expect them to find time for him in Hugh Freeze's system.
Yeah, I think
100%.
Jay Fair, I've been vocal in how much I like the intelligence that Jay Fair shows in just the little things. His dedication. We had an opportunity, if you didn't know, before he even played a snap, he came and sat down with us on a building report. I recommend you guys going back and looking at some of those previous building reports for guys who are going into year 2 in this system or in this at this team, the first year of everybody in the system, just to kind of get an idea where their head was. And we'll see if we can get some of those guys to come back through on a second round and going into year 2 here in Auburn and see what their expectations are and how things have changed from that side. But we're definitely looking forward to hearing more productivity from one young Jay Fair in year 2 now in Auburn. Looking forward to it. 5. We'll see. Chris Sanders jumps in. We got Thanos and Hulk on the D line. This is referring to Jeffrey Mba and to Eniche Sledge as Thanos and Hulk. So
yeah,
hey, listen, man.
Hey, listen. I hope they live up to the names.
Yeah.
I hope they live up to the name, certainly. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how they do again at spring ball. You want to keep these guys healthy. And the goal is, you know, progress, develop your body, understand the system, and get through the spring healthy. Yeah. Every spring, there's an injury out there that, you know, we're all like, oh, God, here we go. Hopefully, you know, this young man is all right, and hopefully he's ready for the spring. Yeah. Again, I'll be interested to see their approach to that. To challenge these guys, but, you know, player health, right, during the spring and whether we have a rash of injuries. So, you know, we'll see.
Eddie Whalen jumps in and says, A-Day is a glorified practice and nothing is shown.
You know, that's right. This is correct comment to some extent. They're not going to show anything in terms of system, but what you're looking for are how well do they operate the basics. Right? How well do they operate the basics? That's all we're looking for out here, right? So it is a glorified practice. 100%.
I want to go watch practice too. So I don't have a problem with going to see practices in a scrimmage format.
Yeah, we want to see how they look because I'll tell you what, you can say it's a glorified practice, but practice determines whether you play or not.
Right.
You go out and you go 0 for 15 in practice throwing the ball, you're going to be on the bench. Right? So having a bad A-Day means something.
It means something to these kids. Let's make no mistake that they want to go out there. Some kids, listen, A-Day is going to be the only time that they put the uniform on and actually get on the field. Right? Like they will, unless there is a blowout, some of them will never see the field at Jordan-Hare in front of a crowd, absent of A-Day. And we talked about this, you know, you want to see, the fans want to see something on A-Day, and those kids want to get an opportunity to show what they've got, right? Like you want, if you're a quarterback that's right now like if you're Hank Brown, right, and you're the freshman coming in, you want to play an A-Day. You want to show guys what they have to look forward to in your arm strength and talent and how you can hit the open receivers XYZ. You want to show that. If you're you know, any of these freshmen that are coming in that may be redshirting, you still want to go out there and put on for the home team and for the crowd so they can know, hey, if XYZ, who you guys, if for God forbid, I don't even really want to say this out loud, but God forbid, DJ James gets hurt, right? And you are a freshman coming in, you want to let folks know, hey, I got this, bro.
Right, for sure.
And it's having a good showing on A-Day is something that puts some confidence in some people's minds that, oh, wait a minute, he could ball a little bit.
Right. Yeah, it's not mean. I mean, A-Day will be the biggest game, biggest crowd most of these kids will have played in front of in their lives, especially if you're incoming freshmen. Right. So it is meaningful in that way to the players. It's meaningful in terms of competition because I think back, My mom and I were talking about the national championship game and the Ohio State kicker, right? And he gets up and he now has the biggest kick of his life, right? At this point, and he shanks it, right? And they lose because that pressure busts pipes, right? And being able to do it in front of a crowd is much different than doing it in practice or doing it in a game day environment, which is why I expect this to be a big A-Day. Guys are going to show up. Fans are going to show up. Hear me, fans. You're going to show up and you're going to create a crazy A-Day environment so that, these coaches can evaluate what this team looks like in front of a big crowd before August, right? Just trying to operate the basics. That's invaluable data to take into the summer. It really is.
Yeah. Pete Pass jumps back in. They moved Perkins outside because of Tolan. So speaking of the LSU transfer, listen, Perkins was good outside, so that was a good move for them as well. But if Tolan is the reason he got bumped out, then that means Tolan is better on the inside, I guess, than Perkins was, which means LSU has a lot of good linebackers, and we're thankful to snatch one of them. We'll definitely spend some more time talking about the linebacker room. There's a lot to discuss because that was a room, and we've talked about it a little bit, but now that we've gotten a transfer, it's another reason for us to come in and discuss linebacker because it's going to be a room with a lot of intrigue. As I mentioned before, we've got guys that are going to be moving around and finding new homes and new positions because that edge room is not necessarily the same, but we'll definitely be talking more about that. Milton Mitchell, any word on what the defensive scheme will be? I'm so glad you talked about this because today we're going to be talking about some Ron Roberts film in our Watch the Film session. So we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I can tell you what he's run in the past, and we will look at some film to determine what could be the potential prospects of that defensive. Listen, he's been running the same type of defense for years. I don't expect him to have anything drastically different than what he showed on film already, but we will be doing that today. Right around lunchtime, we'll go live. If you are a patron and you missed the live, you'll get to rewatch it. If you are a supporter, you got to catch the live, unfortunately. But we will be talking defensive scheme. Typically, it's a 4-2-5 under Ron Roberts, but we'll look more into it today on film. So hopefully you guys get a chance to jump in here and look at that.
Thanks.
Haley jumps in and says, I'll be wearing my 4th and Kiffin shirt to the Ole Miss game.
There you go. Rep it.
Listen, I am definitely about the troll. So as many of you guys that want to go and get a 4th and Kiffin shirt, if we get wind that game is going to be a particular color, I will go make another 4th and Kiffin shirt in that particular color.
Hey, there you go.
Can be in uniform.
Customize it for y'all out here.
So looking forward to that. And listen, we got to beat Ole Miss this year. We can't troll this hard and not win. So let's go ahead and bring that home. James Barnett asked a question. Mike G, how many shutouts are we getting this year, in your opinion? I know it's early, but I think this defense could be top 3 to 5 in the SEC.
5. Oh, my goodness. Listen, I'm not ready to call shutouts until after the spring. So after the spring, James, let's revisit this. And I definitely see at least one shutout. But I got to see, again, I'm going to drop this film on Ron Roberts' defense. And if you're not a member, it's a great time to become a member. And find out, again, what the scheme is going to look like. Because we're going to have to start evaluating whether we have the guys currently as they are constructed to run that scheme, or whether those guys are going to make some changes to get, into the type of, shape that they're going to need to run that scheme. So, again, scheme is everything. And once I see, them play in a game day environment, we'll talk about shutouts. I'm going to call a few. I'm gonna call a few. I'll tell you that much. And I'm gonna be wrong, but I'm gonna call them.
Yeah, might as well. I put it out there. Haley jumps in again and says, not a single one of those gimme games better be struggle wins or worse. 2 years of that was just unbearable.
I'm with Haley on this one. No struggle wins. No struggle wins in gimme games. Right? Go out there and dominate the kids you're supposed to dominate. Dominate the schools you're supposed to dominate. Dominate the coaches you're being paid $6 million a year to dominate. Right? Quick turnarounds. Maybe they come with struggle wins, but hopefully not against in the gimme games. We did not look good in the gimme games.
Yeah.
At all last year. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, listen, it should have been an omen. I will admit. So in case you guys didn't know, the War Report is a fan channel. I am not here to be objective. I'm here to tell you guys
You're
Auburn is going
objective
to
sometimes.
dominate. No, I am objective once we review things, and I'm like, okay, let's objectively look at the facts.
At what happened, yeah.
But when I project forward, I'm going to give you the most positive thing I can possibly think of in all the scenarios in which it can be great.
I may not.
and I'm gonna be out here trying to cape for my boys. I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry. I don't care. I'm gonna sunshine pump until the clouds show, and I'm like, well, you know what? Yeah, this isn't looking so good, right? But I don't care what the forecast says. Predict these nuts, in the illustrious words.
It's too early in the morning, man. It's too early in the morning.
Hey, man, I'm trying to tell you, man. Look, I don't care what nobody predicted, man. I'm gonna tell you, my boys can do it until they show me they can't do it.
Okay, all right.
So I'm gonna come in
these.
hopeful, and we're gonna talk about the prospects of how great it's going to be. So if you want to get doom and gloom before the season starts, you're not going to get it here. I'm sorry, I can't do that for you.
All right.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna predict we're beating the brakes off of UMass. I'm telling you, we're gonna beat the brakes off of Cal until I get a chance to look at both of them teams play, and I'll be like, I don't know.
I'm really back off.
So. Yeah, man. Anyway, once again, you guys are here with the morning drop. Your man Ike Jones, Mike G in here. We appreciate you guys dropping in with us. If you have not been able to chat, it's because you're not a member of the War Report. These morning drop live chats are for the members, but we hopefully get you guys to share this video and everybody can join in the conversation. We are on the quest for 10,000 subscribers to the War Report, and we need your help. Spread the word, get more of the family in here. Listen, man, if Jordan-Hare can hold 90,000, the War Report can have 10,000 subs. I'm just saying. The morning drops are sponsored by rogueshop.com. Make sure you head over there using code REPORT to get 10% off of your purchase. We appreciate those of you who continue to patronize the people who sponsor us. We're about to get out of here, man, but we appreciate all of you who have jumped in here. If you didn't know already, this has been the morning drop. This was your man, Ike Jones, with Mike G. We are out of here. War Eagle, holla at you next time.
Yeah. Peace.
Drop.